Community connections in these LA streets. Rev your engines as we cruise the streets. This is the place where the story's told. This is the Sugar Talks podcast show.
Welcome to Sugar Talks Community Connection. Real people, real story. Today's guest is Hector. Hector's gonna share with us a little bit about his life. He's got a very interesting story. He's gonna tell us a little bit about life on the streets, what changes, how he turned everything around. He's a proud member of Homeboy Industry, and he's also a biker. So here's Hector. Let's see. Okay, Hector. So tell us a little bit about your story. How did you change? What inspired you to change your life and do all these amazing positive things that you're doing?
Sure, thanks. Well, first off, thank you for having me, Audrey. I love seeing you and Larry on on the bike scene, and you're always concerned about the people. I appreciate that. You gather us all up to help other people, and that's pretty awesome. So, to get into my story, it goes back before my twin brother and I were born. I always think about my mom, just like asking her, later on in my life, what happened to our family, and she gave me this story about her just being in the middle of 13 kids. Father left them and moving from West Covina to Ramona Gardens housing projects. And my grandmother was a single mom with all these kids and just didn't have the time for all of them, really. And so a lot of my uncles, aunts, and my mom fell into drugs. My mom went in and she became a heroin addict, and I guess she had met my father, who also messed around. And October 25th, my father died from a heroin overdose, and then my twin brother and I were born October 31st. So then, my mom's a drug addict. She has these kids. She already had another kid before me, my older brother. And yeah, man, we were kind of, just these cards were dealt in life, before I was born. And then here becomes, my twin and I. And my earliest memories are, my mom with her boyfriend, and, we were in a garage, and there was a sheet between us, and I could see her kind of wrapping her arms around with the rope, and you could see the bent spoon and the fire under it. And it's like, at the time, my brother and I just thought they were doing spoons. We called it spoons, but they were doing heroin, of course. And just, you see that. I remember, some of the violent acts, that came with asking, what do you got, I remember my twin brother said, we'll wait until you're done with your spoons. And I remember her boyfriend got so angry, and we didn't even know what happened. And next thing you know, he came over and started slapping us. And we were just little guys. So we grew up with violence. And, the only reason why my brother wasn't there, my older brother, was because he used to beat the shit out of him. And so my grandma took him, and said, like, just give me my older brother. But, yeah, so seeing that, being a part of that for a few years, and then finally my mom, running away from this dude and going back to the projects. I remember one time my mom she said, let's go cash, because my father was working when he died. So we got these Social Security checks. And so we went to go cash these checks in the projects. And then my mom, she grabbed my twin and I out of the car and said, when I say run, you're going to run into the projects. And I thought, oh, shit, she's going to leave this dude. So we started walking across the street toward the projects. And her boyfriend was not from the projects. So she said, 1, 2, 3, run. And we ran into the projects, and I was laughing like I was giddy, just a child, you know what I mean? But I kind of already knew what was going on. And I seen my homeboys get up, you know, the dudes from the neighborhood, and they asked my mom, what's going on? She goes, get him. So they went the opposite direction. They went to go try to get this dude. And I didn't see what ended up happening. But then, you know what I mean? Like when you think about it, like the projects were safety for us, you know?
Yeah.
Like, everybody knew the twins in the neighborhood.
How old were you?
Right then, I must have been around 6 or 7, maybe. Maybe, yeah, probably about 6. And then from there, we started from Farmdale Elementary. Not even elementary. We were like in preschool or something. And then from there, that was in Murchison. That was kindergarten. So actually, I was 5 years old. But I remember that. I remember all the stuff that happened, you know, during those years. And then growing up in the projects, you know, moms didn't stop her stuff. So, you know, we were basically raised by, you know, aunts and uncles, and seeing everyone, you know, just kind of doing their thing, the gangster thing. And by the time I was 12 or 13, went to junior high school, try to think I could get out of this, because I knew, by that time I already knew the gangster scene.
Yeah.
Not like fully, but I knew like, all right, these are the cholos from my neighborhood, but I want to be something else, you know? And I remember finally going to this junior high school, trying to pick some friends that were different. And the friends would kind of basically just shun me. Like, dude, you don't belong over here. You belong with your people, the projects. And that's when I said, oh, this is how life is.
Oh.
Like, I'm in a box and I can't leave my box. And you kind of accepted it, you know? And I remember just saying, from that day, I said, jump me in my neighborhood right now. And they were like, let's just wait till we get to the projects. And we used to walk to El Sereno Junior High School. I go, nope, let's do this right now. And I got jumped in.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And then, you know, then you're kind of like, okay, you made the decision of, I'm going to be a gangster. And that's that, you know. There's so much more into that, into saying I'm going to be a gangster. It sounds cool when you say that. But honestly, now that I know, and looking back at that child, I lost all hope. You know, if no one's taking care of me and they're doing a freaking horrible job on doing it, then fuck it, I'll do it myself. You know, and what 12, 13-year-old's going to make the right decisions? You're not. And you have, you know, all the stuff that you've endured, the violence, the trauma. I know that's a hot word right now, but that's what it is.
It's trauma.
It is, though. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and it's complex trauma. It's not just one incident. It's multiple incidents. You know, I mean, I've seen so much as a child that you look back and you're like, yeah, I've seen murder in front of me. I've seen ODs in front of me. I've seen, you know, violence to my mother, you know, violence to men on men just ripping each other up in fights and knives and stuff. And so by the time I'm 13, I'm revved up, you know, like I'm ready to just participate. You know, you understand. In elementary, I remember got into, you know, some of my first fights, and you understand like, oh, I have to do this in order to make it and to be, to survive, you could say. I know I don't like using those words, but truth is that you want to be okay in the environment that you're in. And in order to be okay, in my mind was, okay, then I have to fight. I have to be violent. And then everybody kind of like, oh, all right, he's one of us. And, you're not born that way. You're made that way.
Yeah.
And yeah, so there was the gangster life. That was the beginning of the gangster life. And then from there, in my neighborhood, specifically, I would say you get schooled for incarceration. So imagine at, 13, 14, your older homeboys you're already from the neighborhood, and they're like, they'll get you up. Come on, let's fight. Put up your dukes, and you have to fight with them. And sometimes you question it, like, why are you doing this? I thought you're my homeboy. It's like, wow, we're getting you ready. You're getting ready. You're gonna go to juvenile hall, dog. And when you do, you're gonna have to fight big dudes. You have to fight, no matter what. Even if you're gonna lose, you fight. You do not ball up. And you kind of understand the concept of, okay, no matter what, I have to go forward. I have to swing my dogs. We're not professional fighters or boxers or anything kind of discipline. It's just
It's all street.
It's just all street,
All
slang 'em.
street.
Yeah, man. So then when you finally do go to juvenile hall, you're like, hell yeah, what I mean? Like, let's get down, and you do. As soon as you walk in, you're like, where you from? And then, I grew up in the 90s, so it was packed with your so-called enemies.
So you were 13 years old when you joined a gang?
I was about 12 or 13.
12 or 13? I can't even imagine.
I know. And then at 14, that's when I went to juvenile hall. And yeah, kind of did my thing right there.
Yeah. So that's crazy. I've always wanted to hear your story because I see you writing. I know you're involved with the homeboy industry.
Right.
And I know you have a story being on the street. And so what did something click in your mind, or did something happen? I mean, of course you don't have to share it, but what made you want to step back a little bit and because now you're helping
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. So just to kind of go fast through, getting jumped in, being a part of a gang. By 17, you're drug dealing all your, I got out of juvenile at 15. You go back in at 16, back out at 17. 17, my twin brother and I got approached, and we started, selling drugs on a different scale. That really changed my life. Really, you start making tens of thousands of dollars in the beginning, which is a complete turnaround from the poverty that you grew up in. And so, you could only buy so many cars, and you could only treat,
Yeah.
so much of your homeboys to go on shopping sprees
Right.
and stuff. So you kind of start to dibble dabble outside of your element, So I remember going to like Rodeo Drive
Oh, wow.
and just all, just go to Hawaii. I went to prison at 18 for a couple of years, got out, carried on with the business. And a lot of crazy shit happened. My twin brother got shot in the head. He has bullet fragments in his head, but he's fine today, thank God. And then eventually, some bad things happened, and I get busted. I was on the run for 3 years, and then I get busted for 4 attempted murders. So I was like, okay, this is a heavy one. This is a heavy load. And by that time, you already understand lawyers. You have money. There's certain things that are not from the average homie would have. So then, after that, after beating that case, and looking back at all the stuff and the craziness that I've gone through, by the time I'm talking about, like, I'm already an adult. I'm well into adulthood. Like, I'm in about 27, and then I just said, there's got to be another way. But I still had money, like, from, drug dealing and stuff. So I kind of like partied for a long time, partied for a while. And then finally I said, there's got to be another way in life. I just was depressed. I was not happy with my life. And then a friend out of the blue said, go to Homeboy Industries. And I was like, oh shit, I remember Homeboy Industries. I met Father Greg in juvenile hall when I was a kid. And I was like, you know what? I'll do that. I'm going to go. And everything kind of aligned. I say it spiritually to kind of, Father Greg was there. I didn't wait long. I got to see him right away. And he basically, I was also kind of like open spiritually. I felt, God help. What do I do? God wanted to guide me, I know that sounds, I don't know if it's childish or what, but I was in a desperate, like,
It's like you became that little boy again that needs a mom,
it needs
a dad,
any
a
kind of
mom, or
guidance.
something.
Yeah, man. So I just said, I'm open. And so when somebody said, go to Homeboy Industries, I thought, oh, that's a good idea. I should go check him out, see Father Greg. Everything aligned. Like I said, he was there. I got to see him right away. I would have walked up and left. And then he was like, why don't you work here, son? And I looked around, it's like a bunch of cholos. I'm like, I don't want to work here, Pop, And he goes, God wants you to work here. And that's all I needed to hear. I said,
He believed in you.
Well, I don't know if obviously Father Greg believes in you, but that was not what I wanted. My goal was not to work at Homeboy Industries. I thought he was going to send me somewhere or something like that, but I still didn't know where I was going to go. So when he said, God wants you to work here, that was just the cue that I needed to hear to say, okay, then I'm here. And we're going to pay you $8 an hour, son. I was like, oh my God. How
Going
could anybody...
from this lavishing life,
Yeah,
you're like, yeah, right, okay.
But, I said, sure, Pop. And then, in my mind, I said, I don't know how I'm going to do this. And I really felt like God said, if I could feed a group of 5,000 with a couple loaves of bread and a couple fish, I got you, dog. And I just said, so be it. I knew it was not going to be in luxury. I wasn't going to be lavish and all that.
Yeah.
But I knew that I was not going to starve. And I knew all my basic needs were going to be met. And that's exactly what happened. That's how it started at Homeboy. Then you kind of, you tread lightly in the beginning to see who's here, what's going on. It's just like it's institutionalized thinking. You see who are the players here, and then you start to like question. I started to question myself. Why are you here? If you're here to help yourself, then jump in. And so there was a little bit of therapy at the time, but one of the big things that kind of broke me was just a creative writing class. I just got down and the prompt was like, write about your childhood. And I remember just started to think back and start to write about my childhood. I never talked about my past, No one knew about it. And so here I am opening up these memories, and really they were opening up wounds. I remember I got choked up in my throat and I go, fuck, I want to cry. And I'm like, there's no way I'm going to cry right here. But something said, you have to. So I said, okay, I won't do it right here though. So I was renting a room at the time, and then I brought my pencil and paper, and I just said, and then I felt like the Spirit said, go back on it. So I did. I jumped back on, started writing about my life. I started thinking about that, my young self and the little kid and what he's seen and what he endured. And it brought me to tears. And next thing you know, I just broke. And I know I needed to break. I knew I needed to just cry for that little boy, that, really wasn't well taken care of and had to go through all this stuff. And I wouldn't want my kid to ever have to go through that, like I'll be damned, And so when you do these exercises and you write and you allow yourself to feel the emotions of this, it's a form of healing. And that's what I felt. I felt that that's what I needed. And I said, this is why I'm here. So I continued to do that and continued to look into different methods of self-healing, meditation, self-help books, I started to learn how to think a different way, to get out of the gangster mindset and come into a set of imagining peace, love, and abundance all around me at all times. And I started putting all that. I started putting what I read to the test. What I mean by that, I didn't have really much at that time. One of the first things that I thought about was motorcycle. I love motorcycles. I grew up in the projects on mini bikes and watched my older brother have a dirt bike, and I got on a dirt bike, and then I watched him get on a Ninja, and then I got on the Ninja, and then I bought a Ninja, and then I bought a GSXR. You know what I mean?
Oh my gosh.
Once I started making money, I started buying my own shit. I wasn't really into Harleys though. And then I finally, I said, I want a street glide, and I go, how am I going to do this? I know I need $5,000, and that would get me a down payment, and it would make my payment into $400. So I said, 5,400, okay. 5,000 down and 400, and I'll have a street glide. Then one of my homegirls, JoJo, she came to Homeboy Industries, and she's like, and I go, this is the bike I want. I told her I was all excited. I go, this is the bike I want. She goes, oh, serious? I go, hell yeah, it's bad, man. And she goes, get on it. And that's your bike. I don't get to get on your bike. And she goes, no, for real, get on the bike. So I didn't want to disrespect her. So I got on the bike, and she goes, give me your phone. I'm going to take a picture with you. So I took the picture with her. I felt kind of stupid, but the picture was on my phone. So there it is in front of me now. Me on this bike. Fuck, I need $5,400 payment. I'll have a bike like this. About a month later, she comes to me and says, hey, Hector, I paid $5,000 on a down payment for this bike. My payments are $400.
Oh my gosh.
She goes, if you want the bike, it's yours. Don't mess up my credit. And I go, I'll take it.
You put that out there.
Yeah, exactly.
In the universe.
And I was like, oh shit, how accurate was that? And then I just started like, wait a minute, if that's the case. And then I just started imagining all kind of stuff and kind of staying with it and then letting it go. And, I grew up in juvenile hall and went to prison and all, and I loved National Geographic magazines. And I used to love looking at the Sahara Desert and, the beautiful waters of the Caribbean and, Hawaii and Fiji and all that stuff, And then I said, I need to get a passport. And, there's a whole other miracle. I do story after story about crazy miracles in my life. Next thing you know, I have a passport in my hand, which is a miracle because there was some other stuff that was going on that was stopping me from that. And next thing you know, I'm in Sweden. Then I'm in Ireland. Then I'm in
Mr. International.
Yeah, man. I mean, fuck. It's just wild. You know what I mean? To see, for me to look at me and say, I can't freaking believe you're doing this, And next thing you know, I'm all over the world. And it's like on paper, a person like me kind of shouldn't be all over the world. You know what I mean? Like if you look and say, well, oh, that's cool. What college you go to? Like I got my GED at Homeboy Industries at 31 years old, dog. You know what I mean? Like, it just, I guess you could say you find the power that you've always had. And you understand the thinking that you've always had this thinking, but if you grew up the way I did, you think bad, so bad shit happens. Of course, you're getting prepped for juvenile hall. So guess where I'm going? Going to juvenile hall. Getting prepped for prison. Guess where I'm going? I'm going to prison. Well, that's cool if that's what you want to do. But then when you wake up and you say, hold on, actually, you're the one in power. People are influencing you to do this, but you are the master of you. So then when I finally learned that about myself, I said, well, what do I want to master? Well, I want, of course, I'm in Los Angeles and we're bombarded with consumerism, you know what I mean?
Right.
You want what everybody else has, but for
we
me,
want
traveling,
everything.
right? We kind of do, but So traveling was a big thing. So that's what I'm getting. Motorcycles is a big thing. So that's what I'm getting. Um, there's other things that I would mention that I don't want, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's just happening. And it's not just about that. It's not just about, yeah. So
Mm.
that's where, and to fall in love with the, the motorcycle world and bumping into Big Lou. We did a run one time, and next thing you know, we started doing our thing. And he created Familia Bicicleta, and that's my cup of tea. Family, kinship, love, brotherhood, um, nonviolence.
And they definitely represents that family, food, the foodie writers. You
The
guys are the
foodie.
foodie
I'll
writers.
take it. I don't mind. Yeah, man. We love food. We love life. I love
Yes.
that.
Peace, and I love Familia Bicicleta. So you've been writing with them for how long? For how long now?
Well, I would say since the beginning, but then, kicking it with them, and I said, oh, because I was there when Big Lou made the name, but actually he rode with a group before that, so it's been I don't know, about
It don't matter. It's
4 or 5 years,
yeah,
maybe.
that's a long time.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
been great.
That is so cool. And I definitely want to have you again for another episode because I know there's still a lot more. There's a lot more that I want to hear. There's a lot more that I feel like you need to share to, people that, that are going to be watching. And I just think you have a very inspiring story.
Thank you.
So I'm so sad that I have to wrap it up right now. But next time I'm going to have you for an hour. And
Sure.
it was nice. Nice having you, and we'll see you next time. Thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned for the next episode with Hector. I'll keep you guys all posted on that.
Community connections in these LA streets. Rev your engines as we cruise the streets. This is the place where the story's told. This is the Sugar Talks podcast show.
Welcome to Sugar Talks Community Connection. Today's guest is Martin. And Martin, I want him to share with everyone what he's doing for the community. He's also a biker. So, Martin, tell us a little bit about you're the founder of Rolling Deep for Charity, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about what inspired you to start this? Was there something that triggered you? Because I know it's for the orphanage of Rosarito. You're also a biker. And how long have you been riding? So my first question is, what inspired you to start your charity work? And for how many years have you been doing this now?
Well, I've always rode with a group, and I've been riding for over 38 years. So I started very young, with, street bike. I believe like everybody else, running amok through East LA. And once I got my first Harley, we still rode with a group. So I decided to let's go have some fun in Rosarito. And when I was over there, I realized that there was so much people in poverty. I would go there as a kid, not really. We would just go camping and see all the fun areas with our parents. But as an adult, you get to visualize more things that are going on that are around your surroundings. So, me and a couple of people started brainstorming to see what we could do for Rosarito. And the little background is that my mother-in-law inspired me because she was an orphan. And my parents always taught us to help the people in need in a young age. So I was always involved with paying it forward and helping people out. So that's how actually we got started. That was over 22 years ago.
Wow, that's a long time. That's a long time. And so So your first ride out there, taking a group of people, how was how was that? I'm sure you were probably anxious, nervous. Okay, because it's a big deal.
Correct.
It's a big deal.
Whenever you go to cross the border, I have to agree with you. It is something different, So, but we started our first annual run, and like I said, it was just a couple of friends, and we put our heads together, and one of them was Rams. I'm not sure from Road Dog Customs if you're aware who he is, but he's a good friend of mine, and so me and my wife said, let's try to do this and let's see where it goes. So we started our first annual, and it was about 90 bikes. And then from there, the second year, we had double. And that's how we got started. And then we started helping out different orphanages, and we started working with DEEF, which always made our gifts go to the right place.
And how did you decide which orphanage to work for? How did that come about?
Well, DEEF as I mentioned, they're the ones who actually work with communities and orphanages. So it made my job easier. They actually, put everybody together, brought it to a central location, and we just showed up and gave the toys out to the kids.
Yeah, I'm sure when you do things like that, you start doing things, it becomes like an addiction.
Oh, yes.
It becomes an addiction. I feel like you're like, oh my gosh, I want to do better. And I think, you tell me, like when you see, how does it make you when you see these kids, like their face, the parents, like it's a feeling I'm sure you can't describe.
Well, when you see these kids, and this is why we do this, when you see these kids and just being very patient and being very, how could I put it? They're just very well mannered, and they appreciate.
I appreciate, yes.
They appreciate everything that you give them, whether it's small, large, or even if it's just a small toy, because a lot of these kids don't actually, have Christmas as we do over here in the States. I think the kids here in the States, the majority of the kids, not all of them, are very spoiled. And one toy isn't enough.
Right.
Compared to these kids that one toy is enough and treasure that toy or whatever it is that you give them.
Right.
So that makes it all worth it, and makes any individual to want to give them more.
Right. So what is a process like? What's a process to get all the toys out there and like dealing with especially with what's going on now?
Yeah, with the borders.
With the borders and all that. So this is like something new for you, right?
Well, after doing it for 22 years, yeah, we have a lot of obstacles. We fundraise. That's what we fundraise a lot through here in the States. We fundraise and we gather money. We have, to be honest, bluntly honest with you, I think it was the first 5 to 6 years, I was using my credit card to purchase all the toys for all the kids in Rosarito, because I didn't have sponsors. I didn't have, I had events, but with the money that you raise for those events, you got to pay for logistics, you got to pay for people's gas, people's trailers. And but I was never doing this for the money. I was doing this, to give back. And then throughout the year, I have a job. Thank God I have a great job. And I pay off the credit card throughout the year. Now, that being said, working with DEEF made it a lot easier because they're the one who worked with all the logistics to getting all of our trailers across and getting it without me paying the major tax I would do every year.
Oh, wow. So you got to pay taxes
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Whenever you cross anything over the value of $1,000, you can pay taxes. And we always took at least 14 to 15,000 worth of items. So to this day, I still pay taxes, but working with DEEF, they help out with letters, so the cost of getting things across isn't extravagant.
Okay. Wow. And so I know I rode there once, and people that I haven't been, I know they have this in their mind, like, oh, the roads are bad and all that. And the first time I drove, Larry's like, I'm not riding because the roads are bad. So, but I went there. It was actually pretty. The roads are not bad at all, unless if you're not paying attention. Like here, if you don't pay attention,
Yeah, well,
they're like any place.
unfortunately, they don't have Caltrans, so it's that. But even though look at where we ride in LA, there's a lot of potholes that
Oh yeah,
mess up our ribs, right? But the roads are not bad. You do gotta pay attention, like everywhere else. But we always have a police escort taking you there and bringing you back, so you could cross at ease. Not that you need it, a police escort, but it's for people who actually fear Baja or actually haven't been there. I mean, I think once you ride once with the police escort, you don't even wait for us for the escort anymore. You go on your own because you really know how to get there. You know the roads are good. It's not that far from the border, so a lot of people are not as timid as before.
right. And so before your big run, you have is it two events that you have here? You have multiple, right?
I have 2 or 3.
The Hot
event-
Fest was just
we just passed, correct. We just had that event. Before that, it was the car show. And then we have bike nights as well. And we also have fundraisers, not for our organization, but we help out people who fall in riders, and we always contribute to them because we have to remember that today it's that person, but tomorrow it could be you.
yeah,
So you really have to support people, and especially support people who support you.
right. Oh, so you have another organization where you?
Yes. Well, no, we use our same organization.
Oh, okay, okay.
But out of the same funds that we raise for the kids, we use the same funds to help out people who are in need here or fallen bikers. We use the same funds and we help fundraise for their organization so they can reach funds to help the individual.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's pretty amazing. I love everything that you do, and I know it takes a team.
Correct.
It takes like a team, and I feel like people don't. What would you say to people that don't understand? Because it's like with anything. I've hosted events small before the biker, and there's a lot of work that goes into it. And I feel like people don't understand. They don't see that. You know, like you said, the taxes. I didn't know you have to pay taxes. And I know there's a lot that goes into it.
It's a lot of logistics. I'm lucky I majored in logistics. So it's a little easier for me, but I still can't do nothing by myself. I mean, I have all these ideas, but it doesn't mean I could do them. I need my team.
Right.
And we have a great team. We have a great team of volunteers and sponsors that are willing to lend a hand. Like, you know what, this is, I reached out to them, I'm in a dilemma. I don't know how to get to point A to point B. I need your help. And they're always willing to lend a helping hand, but it's very difficult, especially international. So I could tell you hundreds and one stories, but we just don't have enough time on this.
I know there's like for 30 minutes. We're already,
Yeah.
we're 10 minutes into it.
So, but yeah, I mean, I've had my struggles, but we pull through it, and at the end, we always come through.
Okay. And so what was my next question to you? And you write, you're also a writer.
Correct. But like I said, I've been writing for over 35 years. I've been writing since right beginning of high school. I guess it's showing my age, right? But I've always enjoyed writing. It's once I got my Harley, it's actually different. It was a different ride. You don't go as fast as you did the street bikes. I was younger. You don't do stupid stunts. But yeah, I love to ride. It's a mental relaxation. If you ride, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It clears your mind.
Oh yeah. And sometimes though you can get too like not relaxed, but it's like you're in your own zone. You're in your zone. You gotta like, oh shit, snap out of it.
Let me tell you, I passed my exit a few times.
I've done that too. I was like, oh man, because you're just in your zone. And I think it's, I understand, you know, before I started writing, I'm like, because I didn't want to, you know, I was against it. But now I understand. I'm like, okay, I'm all for this.
Yeah, correct.
And so what are the, so I know in Rosarito, you also have barbers that go and
Yes.
they cut the kids' hair, the family.
That's been a big hit. They started going about the past 3 years, and one of them is my son-in-law K9 and his company. Shout out to all of them as well. started cutting hair, and I never knew how that was gonna go. But
Oh.
that's been one of the biggest hits because I remember the story that they told me that one father had 4 kids. He said,
Expensive.
and he goes, "You have," he told one of the barbers, "You have no clue what major help you're helping my family. I can't afford all these kids' haircuts. So you're doing this." They were very happy. And so that's been a major hit. So now more barbers are contributing. Last year, I only took 3 barbers, but there was barbers that were part of my volunteers, and they went down there and gave them a break and started cutting hair as well. It was like a team. It was just awesome. It was a beautiful scene.
Oh, nice. That's so nice. And have you ever experienced give me 1 second. What has there been a moment when, like an experience where someone came up to you and said something and you're like, I'll never forget it, but it just gives you that fuel to keep going? Because I'm sure every time you do this, there's got to be something that at least one person, and you're like,
That's a
this is why this, I know you probably weren't prepared for this. It's sometimes it's so much your brain is just not ready. And it's like, okay, this is why I do this.
That's a great question because I do have those stories, and I'll just tell you two of several. Uh, see, it had to be 10 years ago. I met this young girl, and all she wanted to get her autograph.
I was just gonna say, you're probably like well, you are a celebrity.
No, but just not mine. Just like my little group that we had with bikers, and we're gonna, "Hey, can I get your autograph?" I'm like, "Here's a toy." "No, I just want your autograph." And she was such a beautiful and humble little girl, and she had a little book, and we signed her autograph. We gave her a toy, and she says, "No, she didn't need a toy, but she will appreciate a toy for her little brother." So I would give her a toy, and that doesn't, you don't forget that, right? And she got everybody's autograph, right? She had a little book.
Something's free.
I've been seeing that little girl every year at the run.
Wait, is that the one? It is.
Now I believe she's about 16,
Really?
and she still goes to her and still wants her autograph. And now the past 2 years, we've been giving her money to go to a community college there in Rosarito to cover her yearly funds, which is not a lot, believe it or not. Whatever we contribute, we're helping her now.
Man, that's so amazing. I love that because I see it. Like when I go to Belize, that's why I like these questions, because I see it. I've been there, and I know how much, I know how, like, I don't think you. No, actually, I know you realize, like, or maybe you don't. Sometimes they can take it for the rest of their life. They'll always remember you.
Yes.
And I always tell my kids and Larry, I said, what legacy do you want to live? You want to leave behind?
Mm-hmm.
And how great would that be? Like, when that day comes and we leave this earth, that little girl's going to remember you. She's going to speak of you. You know what I mean? That people are going to remember you. And I want to be a little part of that.
That's a great thing. And one of the other stories is this is an actual writer who goes to my events, and I met him about 4 years ago, maybe 5. And now I know who he is. I can't remember his name, but he lives up north. And he tells me, "Hey, Martin, can I talk to you real quick?" "Yeah." So he tells me, "Hey, I just want to know that you're doing a great job. I don't want to do nothing from you. I'm participating in your event, but I want you to know what you're doing is as I want you to know that it's helping more than you know." Because I was one of those kids in line receiving a gift in Tijuana. I go, "Are you serious?" "Yes, I didn't have Christmas. I didn't have, my parents could take me to afford a toy." So I was one of those kids, and I appreciate what you're doing. That's why I'm here supporting you. I just wanted to thank you. And I can't recall his name, but I do know how he looks like. I do know who he is. But that's another great story that I'm glad that me and my wife were able to help pay it forward.
Oh, that's so awesome. And I know your wife, Sonia, she's very involved too. And I like She supports you 100%. But again, it's like an addiction. It's like doing something great. Like that's like the best gift you can give.
Hmm.
I think. I don't know if you feel that way.
Of course I do.
And it's is there any? I know this is a big thing you do, but is there anything else that you're like, gosh, I wish I can do this? I know you want to like. We wish we can help the world.
Correct. Correct. Well, what we did 2 years ago, I've always wanted to. We actually we built a park.
You build a park
Yes, we built a park.
in Rosarito.
But not in Rosarito, but not in the city. Up in the hills where they don't even have running water. And
Wow.
you need a 4x4 to get up there. And we, like I said, we work with Dave, and we asked them, give us the poorest poverty city that you or community. It's not a city, a community,
Like a little
a
village.
village that you
Mhm.
work with. And he goes, we'll take you. We went over there and we worked with our local vendors that do swings and to do monkey bars. They gave them a list of what we want, and it's up there. It's up in the area. I can't tell you the actual area because I don't even know how to get there unless you take me back home.
Yeah.
I-
So is it built already?
It's been built 2 years ago.
Oh, that's right. 2 years. Oh my God.
We organized it. We all got together with close friends, and we got money, and we raised it, and we worked with the local vendors out there, and it was a success. You know, it was awesome. The inauguration there. It's called Parque de Victoria, and it's a beautiful, beautiful park, and they're very appreciative. Like I said, they didn't have running water, but it was just great. I went there once to look at the location, twice for the and third for the opening.
Wow. And you're not talking about this? I know it's a humble thing.
Yes.
It's humble. You're doing it from the heart.
Yes.
You don't, because I know you don't. You don't want people. You don't want it to look like you're. I get it. I get it. It's a private. It's something you did from your heart.
Meaningful, and to be honest with you, we didn't even do an event. Well, one thing is hard to get up there, first of all, with bikes. But my goal is to do another park, maybe closer to the city, but they have a lot of parks already near the city. I want to get the rural areas where it's hard to get to, because those are the kids who actually need it, who can't come down
Yeah.
to another park, who can't, maybe don't have the means to get down there. So if I could do something for those, I would probably do another park. Maybe a little more assistance with them,
Mhm.
maybe help pave a portion of the road or something, because that's what my parents did in Mexico.
So it's dirt road. It's dirt.
It's mud, and not, that's, like I said, you need a 4x4 to get up
Sounds like Belize.
there.
So, yeah, it's like those simple things like that, like swing set or
something small. If everybody just pitches in and does a little small gesture to help out this community, it's fantastic, and it doesn't take a lot to make it happen, especially over there.
well, it's that.
That's commitment.
Oh yeah, commitment, and like you said, a team that helps you. Because I always look at it like it takes one person to make one person, the rest will follow.
Well, true.
One vision, one visioner.
If you have a good leader,
Yes,
that's very
Yes.
possible. And they have to believe in you, and they have to believe in your cause.
exactly. All that has to be hand in hand.
Correct.
And yeah, so let's see what other questions I have. You're doing so much good stuff. Okay, so like the Hot Fest that just passed. Well, actually, let's talk about the Rosarito. When is that run?
It is on 9/11 weekend.
Oh, 9/11. Oh, yes, that's right.
9/11, just so you can remember that. It's easy to remember, right? Because unfortunate incident we had in New York. But 9/11, that's the actual date. It's Thursday to Sunday. We have a police escort that takes you across and brings you back to the border. It's a great event. We're going to shut down streets in Rosarito.
Oh, they do all. Oh, it's a.
Yeah, we're gonna do things different over there. We're gonna go bigger or better. We'll go home.
I don't think anybody wants to go home.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good thing. It's gonna be a good thing this year.
Okay, so they shut the. I remember last year when I saw the. What do you call them? The federales.
The federales.
Yeah, they're a little scary. I think if I was by myself, I would have been like scared. But being with a group, and I already know that it's fine, it's safe, and I never once felt unsafe.
They're actually there to just make us feel at ease. Quite the opposite. They don't want nothing to they want to bother us. They're having a good. They're just there for our protection, but like not that we need it.
Right.
Like they're just for the people who are feel unsecure. They want us to make us feel secure.
Yeah.
They're there for a present, so don't worry about it. You guys have a good time. That's all it is.
Oh yeah, and then you're doing something such a good cause, seeing everyone
Correct.
comes together and all the bikes. I'm sure they're loving it too.
Oh yes, and then the mayor says we're giving back to the community. We have the mayor's support, we have the police chief support, and for whatever we need. So that's why it makes everything go without a hitch.
Oh, that's awesome. And then so the after party is at Papas and Beer. I love that place.
Yes.
Love that place.
Biggest club in Rosarito and the safest club in Rosarito, the most awesome light and music available for the whole weekend. They're just awesome.
And
Right at the beach.
I know it's so beautiful. I highly recommend people go. And then what about the bands? Like, do you already know who's going to be playing, or that's a secret?
One is we have a band that we had and just last weekend called Vengeance, but we have been having another band there, but that one is little headliner, so we're gonna keep that under our hat. It's a good surprise for all of you when you guys ride.
Oh wow, how exciting! That'll be so much fun. And so let me see here. So I have one more question. So what message do you want people to take away from what you're doing? Not just about the charity, but about the community.
Well, I like to let everyone know that I want you to come to my events. I want you to come follow me. I want you to see exactly what I do. So I could inspire you for you to do your own events, your own charity. I really believe, and I say this all the time, if everyone would just pitch in a little, it'll make this world a better place. Now, a lot of people, another thing I say is get off the sidelines and get in the game. Don't be the finger pointer of what other people are doing. Why don't you do it? And you pay it forward and give back. That's the only thing. You don't have to support me and help out my charity. Do your own charity, but do something positive for the community and give back. And that'll be a good example that I could do and leave with everybody. And that'll be just fantastic. If everybody would just do what they can for the community.
Yeah, that's perfect. Excellent, right to the point, and it's true. Like I always say, like if people can give up one drink, drinks are expensive.
Yes.
Let's just say $12. Give up one drink or one Saturday. Do you know how much more we can do for a charity, yours, or just
In general.
in general? That's a lot of money at Starbucks.
Yes.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
If we just do that, put that, oh wow, you know what? Today we're gonna have a give up a Starbucks day. Wouldn't that be so awesome?
That would be fantastic. That would be fantastic.
Okay. Well, it was very nice having you here, and I will definitely have you again next time for a different episode because I like stories of giving back, and then I know there's so much that we have to share and talk about. But in the meantime, it was
Thank you. Great.
fair. Yes, and then yes, thank you. And stay tuned for the next episode of Sugar Talks Community Connection.
Community connections in these LA streets. Rev your engines as we cruise the streets. This is the place where the story's told. This is the Sugar Talks podcast show.